I'd like to, first of all, welcome everybody that's here. It's a pleasure to see them. And to do a quick roll call. As you can see down here, Yvonne Griffin has been put on as a member. She is an alternate, and she will be filling in with the ability to vote as well on all the issues. So if you wouldn't mind starting from left to right, just say your name.
Yvonne.
Frank McElroy.
Regina A.G.
Rondo Hayward.
And Richard Jevitt. All right. The first thing is to let you all know that we will be hearing of residents, and at this time, I don't see that we have any kind of residents available that want to say anything to us right now. Okay, thank you very much. So we'll close that portion of the meeting. All right, the item number 4A, which is the minutes of the October 4th, 2023 regular meeting. If you all had a chance to take a look at that. I would like to hear a motion of if there's anything that you want to make adjustments to or corrections of. If not, then a motion to approve. Hey, Mr. McElroy?
I'll move to approve the minutes from
Okay.
the October 4th, 2023 meeting.
All right, we have a motion for approval
Second.
and a second from Regina. All those in favor, starting from left to right?
Aye.
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 Aye, the minutes are accepted as they are. Okay. Just to let everyone know that when we do present the agenda issue, since it is a public hearing issue, persons are allowed to speak against this. What we will do, number one, is to have staff members go through it and describe it, and after that, if there are any people that are ready to make any kind of adjustments or notifications on it, they will be asked to speak on it. Okay? All right. So, item A, which is the PLVAR 202400018, and that's to conduct a public hearing and consider a request for a variance to Unified Development Code Article 11 on signs. The variance request is specifically in relation to Section 21119C, the maximum number of signs to permit a secondary wall sign that is larger than 75% of the area of the primary wall sign, located at 650 Roy Richard, City of Schertz, Guadalupe County in Texas. Okay, at this point, please make the presentation.
Good evening, Board. PLVAR 2024-0018, 650 Roy Richard, a variance to Article 9, Section 21119C, signs. Daisy Marquez, planner. So here is the subject property outlined in green. It is off FM 399, also known as Roy Richard, and it is across those apartments in Schertz. To the north, the property is currently vacant, but it is zoned general business district. To the south, the property is also vacant, and it is also zoned general business district. To the east, we have the Merritt Lakeside Senior Apartments, and that is zoned R4. And to the west, we have directly the FM 399 right-of-way. So on February 13th, 6 public hearing notices were sent by mail, and on February 14th, a public hearing notice was posted in the San Antonio Express. We had no responses. So Keller Custom Signs, on behalf of Health Texas, has requested a variance to Unified Development Code Article 11 signs, specifically in relation to Section 21119C, maximum number of signs, which requires each sign in excess of the primary wall sign to be a maximum 75% of the area of the primary sign. The requested variance is in order to allow the sign that is in excess of the primary sign to surpass the maximum 75% sign area allowed. And ultimately, if approved, the variance would allow the secondary sign to have the same area as the primary sign. So this is kind of a breakdown of what happened and kind of what's being proposed. So according to the UDC, the maximum allowed sign area is either 12% of the facade area or 125 square feet, whichever is less. And the actual sign area for the primary sign is 92.87 square feet, which complies. But when it comes to the secondary sign, the UDC reads that single occupancy or single tenant shall be limited to one sign per wall with a maximum of 3, and every sign in excess of the primary sign shall be a maximum of 75% of the area of the primary wall sign. And in this case, the maximum allowed sign area of the secondary sign should have been 92.87 square feet, 75% of the 92.87 square feet, which is 69 square feet approximately. But what actually happened is that both signs are the same area. So in the supporting documentation provided by the applicant, they stated that they were issued a sign permit, they manufactured and installed a sign as per the issued sign permit, and were notified after the installation of its non-compliance with the UDC section 21119C signs. The applicant submitted a sign permit for 650 FM 3009 on August 14th for 2 wall signs and 1 freestanding sign. The permit was reviewed and ultimately approved and issued on August 15th with the 2 proposed wall signs with the same dimensions and ultimately the same sign area. And although the applicant did submit a sign permit, received approval of the signs, and installed them per the issued sign permit, they had not yet requested their final sign inspection, nor had the permit been closed. The Building Inspections Division received notification that both signs at the development looked to be the same size. And after it was brought to their attention, they conducted a courtesy inspection on January 3rd to inspect the sizes of the signs. And with confirmation that both signs were the same size, the applicant was contacted about the situation on January 9th and were given the options to either remove the secondary sign and replace it with a smaller one that conforms to the UDC requirements or apply for a variance. So here is what was submitted with the application. To the left, we have what is considered the primary sign that directly faces FM 3009. And then to the right, we have the secondary sign that should be 75% smaller, but if you can see, the dimensions are exactly the same. And instead of this being 92.87 square feet, it should have been approximately 69 square feet. So the requested variance does not violate the intent of the UDC or its amendments. UDC Code Article 11 signs states that the purpose and intent of Article 9 is to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens by regulating the location, construction, duration, size, height, installation, and maintenance of all signs within the city of Schertz. Although the built and installed secondary sign located at 650 Roy Richard exceeds the maximum allowed sign area, it does not diminish the intent of the sign article to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the city. There are no special conditions of the restricted area topography or physical features for 650 Roy Richard that are not applicable to other properties in the same zoning district. And the hardship is a result of the applicant's own actions. The applicant submitted a sign permit with the incorrect maximum sign areas for the secondary sign. However, during the review process for the sign permit and permit issuance, the City of Schertz Building Inspections Division did not identify that the second sign was the same dimensions and same area as the primary sign, or correct the secondary sign to the required allowed 75% maximum sign area of the primary sign area. The applicant did not submit plans that did not conform with the UDC requirements, but since the City of Schertz issued the permit without identifying the area and correcting it, the applicant manufactured and installed a sign as permitted in their issued sign permit. If the requested variance is not approved, the applicant will need to remove the sign that was manufactured and installed as per the approved sign permit issued by the City of Schertz. Allowing this variance does not deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties in the same zoning district. So the City of Schertz Building Inspections Division understands and acknowledges their oversight of this sign error. To prevent sign permits from being issued without Article 11 compliance, there have been additional staff training on sign permits and internal training documents created to ensure compliance with Article 11 when staff is reviewing and issuing future sign permits. And based on the sign plans being submitted with the area and maximum sign area, the issue not being identified during plan review, and the sign permit being issued with the error, and the signs being installed per the issued sign permit, staff recommends approval of the requested sign variance to allow the secondary sign to be the same area as the primary sign for 650 Roy Richard, also known as 650 FM 3009, with an approximately 92.87 square feet. Comments, questions? You want me to go back to the sign picture?
Okay, excuse me, at this time, since this particular session is also a public session, we will hear any public person that wants to speak in on this item until we start asking the questions. So is there anyone that wants to speak in regards to this particular issue? Going once, twice, 3 times. All right, the meeting is adjourned there. At this point, it is open to the staff. So if there are any questions, please state your name and then the question that you want to ask. Anyone? Okay, Fernando?
Rondo Hayward, can you go back to the graphic for a second?
Yes, sir.
You know, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. A mistake was made, so there's a mistake is a mistake. Right now, the property to the right of it, you know, facing, looking the building, is unoccupied. Should that land be occupied and developed, would that signage block that property owner in any manner?
You mean the one to the south?
Yes,
This property?
yes.
I don't believe it would block that property.
A little hard maybe from this graphic, but from our GIS map here, you can see, so the primary sign is kind of located here, and then the secondary sign is actually on this wall. So I think if somebody was to construct a building on this next property over, the secondary sign on the side wall I don't think would play an impact on visibility of the adjacent property based on how they've constructed on that
Okay,
wall.
so that secondary sign is on the indent, as you're showing it now.
Yes, it is
Okay,
on
got
this
it.
side here.
Got it. I knew it was on that side, but I didn't see it was basically in the indent. Thanks.
Mr. Chairman, is anyone here from the applicant?
No, they are not. We just have our building inspectors with us here today.
Then the question is to the city, if you know. Any idea what one of those signs as submitted ran the applicant as far as cost?
I am not aware. Per their submitted documents, it just said that they would have to remove the sign and manufacture and install a new one, and that it would cost more to them.
Thank you.
Okay, Richard, I just wanted to find out real quickly, you know, in this particular case, it is something that went through the city, and unfortunately, you know, whatever it is that we signed off a little bit on this. Will this in any effect set a precedent for something else? In other words, now we have the signs that are in this shape. Will that set a precedent for anything else?
So we're recommending approval of this sign variance just because it kind of was a mistake on staff's part of not reading that exception of FM 3009 that is in the sign code. But in the future, it shouldn't, everybody else would have to meet the UDC requirements.
It shouldn't set a precedent because it was a mistake that was made on the part of the city. So
Right.
as long as the city doesn't make that same mistake again, then we wouldn't have to rely back on our decision for this one.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other questions? Okay, do we have a motion for approval?
Mr. Chairman, I'd move to approve.
Okay? And second? Second from Yvonne? Okay, at this point, since we do have it, we'll start the vote from left to right, please.
Aye.
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 And aye. So the motion passes, that everything is accepted. And we want to thank staff for the presentation and everything else that they have done. I really do appreciate it. Okay, moving on. Are there any announcements by the members? And this would be for city or community events that they may have attended or anything?
Mr. Chairman, I wanted to just bring up the Tony Willinchuk walk. And I saw many of the staff members there this past Saturday morning. The first time I'd ever done it. We had a good time. I thought it was a good cause, and it was a good time, and quite a number of people showed out for that. So, just bring that to everybody's attention.
Anyone else? All right. Moving on to the next thing, announcement by city staff on community events or anything going on? Nothing to add? All right. If there's nothing to add, then I hear a motion to adjourn. Mr. McAvoy?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Okay, any second?
Second.
And we have a second from Regina. All those in favor, starting from left to right?
Aye.
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 All right, so at this point, this meeting for the Board of Adjustment is now adjourned. Thank you all for attending. We really appreciate it. Thank you.